My name is Bob Murch, and I'm considered the world's foremost expert on Ouija and talking boards, and I'm here on Paranormal Kool-Aid. Oh, yeah.
Welcome back to Paranormal Kool-Aid, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. The chat room is awesome. We just finished up a live Echo VOX session with Danny Roberg, also known as Danny Bigbeard, and that was pretty interesting, I have to say. Pretty interesting. And we're gonna have Pete Stegman join us here in just a second. So shoot it over to Chris, and we're gonna go from there, guys.
Right. You know, that was an amazing first half of the show. I think I have more questions now than I did when I first heard it. I think it's awesome. It's good stuff to talk about, and we're going to kind of change the dial just a little bit, but not too much. We have Pete and Chandra. You brought us these two, Pete and Danny, and Pete is the guy that created these point of view glasses, and that's what I'm talking about, the POV. And these were used on a certain show. Is that correct, Chandra?
They sure were.
All right.
Good on.
Was that the Ghost Hunters show?
Yes, it was on Sci-Fi. Yeah.
That's right. You know what? And you know, it's one of those things. As I was I only saw bits and pieces of it, but as I was watching it, I was thinking, you know, that's freaking ingenious, because one of the things that we dealt with, you know, with Ghost EP was you never have enough hands, you know, and you see the investigators that have like the fishing vests where you can put all kinds of stuff in your pockets, but it still never freed you. You only had two hands, but if you got the glasses on, then it frees your hands up to do other things, and it's a great idea. Yeah,
it's fabulous idea.
What I'd like to do is while Bill, if you can just go ahead and give us that applause, and let's bring Pete on. All right. And you know, Pete, we've got those listeners out there that love to cheer you on. Welcome to the Paranormal Kool-Aid.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Oh, you know what? This is one of those shows that I tell you what, the girls and I have been excited about for a long time. I think at the beginning of the show we decided that it was in January when we tried to get you on, and I'm excited. So those of us out there in Paranormal Kool-Aid land that don't know exactly what your glasses are, what you do, how you investigate, why don't you give us who you are? Let everybody out there in Paranormal Kool-Aid land know who you are.
Okay. Well, I'm Pete Stegman. Let's see. I started out. I've pretty much been interested in the paranormal my entire life. I don't know. You old guys like me will probably remember it, but there was this little show that was on when I was a kid, and it had Leonard Nimoy on, and it was In Search Of. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yes.
But, oh God, and that was my favorite show. Let me tell you, I started watching it. I had no idea what paranormal was. I watched it because, you know, it had Leonard Nimoy, and I was a huge Star Trek fan as a kid. So that was why I watched it. But I started watching this stuff, and, you know, and he was always talking about, you know, cryptids, Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts, everything, you know. And that really got me interested in the paranormal. So I've had this interest, you know, pretty much my entire life. And, you know, if I ever actually get to meet Leonard, I'm going to tell him, you got me into the paranormal, which is probably he's never heard. So, excuse me, I'm just getting over a really bad sinus infection, so I'm having a hard time talking. I got out of, you know, I've never really investigated the paranormal until I moved into a house in Lakeville, which was right next to the Freetown State Forest, or in the Bridgewater Triangle, if you guys are familiar with that. But this place was absolutely crazy haunted. And things kept getting worse and worse and worse. I mean, it started out with, like, simple things like, you know, little noises and people walking around upstairs, and there was nobody upstairs. The roof was above the living room. and we'd hear people walking around, and then it got to be where things would disappear, things would move around. We had a drawer that had silverware in it that, you would put all the silverware in. You have the dividers, your spoons, forks, knives. We'd put them in, and they would be all, laid out nice. 5 minutes later, it's a jumbled mess, and you'd actually hear it. You'd actually hear it jumble up. So I didn't know what to do about it, and what happened was one day I was talking to a friend of mine who happened to be a Cherokee shaman, who was he was a shaman for the Wampanoag tribe in the Freetown Forest, and I was telling him this stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, right, sure, whatever." And I said, "No, man, you should come over and check it out." And he ended up coming over, and he's like, "So, show me what's going on." So I actually brought him over to the silverware drawer, and I straightened it all out. And then I closed it, and we walked away, and then I heard, you could hear it. I said, "You hear that?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Go look in that silverware drawer." And he opened it up, and it was all jumbled up, and he was like, "Wow, that's crazy." And then he's like, I also told him about this area in our yard where no animals would go. My dogs wouldn't go there, my cats wouldn't go there, no wild animals would go there. We used to call it the dark spot in the yard. And he's like, "So take me out to the dark spot." So I took him out there. And he walked out there, and I've never seen a guy so dark turn so white. He goes, "Oh my God, this is bad. This is bad. This is bad." And I'm like, "What's the matter?" And he goes, he says, he starts walking towards his car. He says, I have to go. I'll be back. And I'm like, "Where are you going?" He says, "Trust me, I'll be back." So he was gone for about an hour, and he came back, and he was actually all dressed up in his Wampanoag ceremonial garb. And he's like, "I have to do a ceremony." I'm like, you think that's native?" And he goes, "Oh, it's definitely native." And so he did this little ceremony. It only took about maybe 10 minutes, and he was speaking. I don't know what he was, if he was speaking Cherokee or Wampanoag, but he was definitely speaking a Native American language. And then he says, "Okay, well, that should help you out." And I said, "Oh, did you make it go away?" He goes, "Oh, you're not making that go away. I just told it you were a friend, so it ought to leave you alone." And it did. It never went away, but it did calm down. But that really got me into realizing that there's something out there, something that, it really affected me. You know what I mean? And before that, I never had anything that kind of, affected me directly. And that, excuse me, and that's kind of what got me into it.
Awesome. Miss Chandra, are you there?
I am. Hi, Pete. How are you?
Hey, Chandra. How are you, honey?
I'm good, babe. Listen, I've got a bunch of questions, but
sure.
I definitely want to start off in what started the whole idea behind the glasses.
Okay.
Yeah.
It started about 4 or 5 years ago now. I was finding that I'd be on investigations. I see Mark's question there about the ectogasm. That's hysterical.
Yeah.
I'll tell that story later. But it was 4 or 5 years ago, and I was doing investigations, and I'd be walking around with a handheld, night vision camera, and we'd be walking through a building, and you'd hear a noise, and you'd turn your head, and the camera would still be, pointing down the hallway instead of where you actually looked. So I started trying to say, "Oh, man, there must be some way of doing this." Excuse me. There's got to be some way that I can mount a camera, on a hat or something like that. At the time, there was no such thing as a GoPro. There was just, video cameras. So I started trying to figure out ways of, hooking up small video cameras to hats and, onto a helmet. But they just got heavier and heavier and clunky. And I actually saw the glasses at a motorcycle expo. And they were for motorcyclists who wanted to record their rides. And I was like, oh, my God, that's the perfect thing. So I actually bought a set and took them all apart to see how they worked and found out that they could actually be converted to infrared. And but I didn't like the quality of them. The microphone was terrible. The video was terrible. They were very, the battery didn't last very long. So I found the manufacturer, and I started contacting them. And the manufacturer is in China, and I said, listen, I love these POV glasses, but here's what I want to do. I want to be able to convert them to infrared. I want them to be high definition. I want a longer life battery. And when they got to the infrared, they're like, these are sunglasses. I said, yes, I want them to be able to work in the dark. And they're like, you want sunglasses that work in the dark? And trying to explain to Chinese people why you would want sunglasses that work in the dark took me months.
You're like the
but
eventually,
eventually,
of the paranormal.
yeah. Well, they didn't understand at all. They had no concept. So I did finally get them. Now here was the problem. I did get them to do the work for me. I got all this stuff that I wanted. I got the extended life battery. I got the higher quality video. I got the better microphone. But because they were infrared, and they actually put the infrared camera right on, because they were infrared, they couldn't assemble them because the Chinese government wouldn't allow them to use to manufacture anything that could be used as a spying device. So
wow.
we came up with an agreement where they would just send me the parts and I'd assemble them, and that's what we did. So I get every when I put in an order, I get boxes of parts and I put them all together.
Wow, very cool, very cool.
Yeah.
Hi, Pete. Jamie.
Hey, hi Jamie, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you doing? I want to. Well, first we have a caller. That we're going to get to after I ask you this question. I'm going to take it with the chat question, which you commented on earlier. Mark Avila, I want to ask you about the echo gas. What's that all about, the echo gas?
All right, yeah. The ectogasm was hysterical. Yeah, John says China was worried about spying on people. No, they were worried about people spying on them, is what it was. The ectogasm was a nickname that we came up with for an EVP from the Sylvanus Brown House in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been there, but it's part of the Slater Mill facility. And excuse me, it's at the time that the house was most occupied, there were 18 kids and 3 adults, and it was me and Donna and Riley and Steve Black. We were doing an investigation there, and we were actually sitting around after the investigation. And now here's something else about what I do with the glasses. When I'm working with the glasses, I turn them on as soon as I walk into an investigation, and I leave them on while we're doing setup. While we do the investigation and then while we do breakdown, because I have missed so many things, like, when, either before we started an investigation or after we ended it, and I'm going, please tell me something was recording. So I've started leaving them on, the entire time. So this one particular time, we had finished the investigation, and I was sitting on a bench in the dining room of the Brown House. And Steve and I were talking about our next investigation, and he says, "Oh no, I'm not going to have my internet hotspot. We won't be able to stream." And I laughed, and I said something about, "Oh, don't worry, they have Wi-Fi there." It was actually a restaurant that we were doing, and that was it. And then we left. And when I went back and I listened to it, there was the only thing I can say is an ectogasm. It was a definite woman moaning, like having hardcore sex.
Awesome.
And it definitely was not there while we were there.
My goodness. Well, that's
we nicknamed that the ectogasm.
Oh my goodness. Awesome. And I guess we have a caller, the lovely Jan, here with us, who wants to.
Hey, Jan.
Hey, Danny. I've been following you on Facebook. I'm a newbie to. I want to do the ghost hunting thing. I'm actually a psychic, clairvoyant, clairaudient. Do you ever take any mediums with you when you go out on your hunts?
I have. I don't. I actually like to do either a walkthrough before or after to verify what we find. I don't usually like to have them during the investigation, and it's not because I don't believe in them. It's because most of them that I know can't be quiet. They get something and they have to say it. So that's why I don't like having them with me during an investigation, because if I ask a question, I want to get an answer from the spirit world, not from the person standing next to me.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But seeing some of the stuff that you've put together and seeing, I've been on your site and I've looked and I've seen some of the stuff, and I mean, to me, if I ever wanted to start my own ghost hunting little deal going on, it would take. I think you're a genius. For number one, you're definitely way past most of the ghost hunters I deal with, and
thank you.
I certainly, my hat's off to you. But I also see it might take a lot of money to get into this.
No, it doesn't have to. I started out with a digital recorder, and that was it.
That's it, huh?
And that's all. That's it. That's all you need. And then you pick up stuff as you go along. Later on you get a K2 or you get a Mel or whatever. But I just started out with a digital recorder.
I'll be darned.
Actually, my first one wasn't even a digital. It was an analog. It was a tape deck.
Huh. Oh, I'll be darned. Well, now these last years.
Jan, really quick, we got a lot. We're trying to get all the stuff squeezed in. We appreciate you calling us and listen to us every Wednesday night. We have great guests, just like Pete and Danny every single week. So we appreciate you calling in. And what I'd like to do is I'm going to put you on hold, and I'd like to get some information from you. And we'd like you, since you were our first newbie caller. I'm going to go ahead.
Absolutely.
I'm going to see if I can get you a Paranormal Kool-Aid or a Dead Air Paranormal T-shirt.
That would be awesome.
Really quick. All right,
Thank y'all so much.
Put you back on hold while Bill get her information for me, please. So here we go. Pete, I know there's a million and one chat questions going on out there, but I'm going to ask you what is the retail cost of your glasses? I mean, those of you that maybe want to go out and buy your glasses, how do we find them? Where do we buy them? Because you know what, they're great stuff. It's great stuff.
And unfortunately, I'm completely out right now. I was at the Paracon 2 weeks ago, and I got wiped out there. I got wiped out at the oh my God, my mind's a blank. What was the con that was 2 weeks ago? But anyways, yeah, I'm. What? Sorry.
I think it was wasn't it the History Con?
No, that's next week.
Oh, okay, I'm getting confused. It was Gettysburg anyway.
Yeah, it was in Gettysburg. Yeah. Phenomicon. That's it, Mark. Thanks.
Yeah.
That was Phenomicon.
And
the glasses go for $149.95, and then if you want the IR attachments, they're another $49.95. So the whole set is like $200, and I've had people say, "Oh my God, $200!" But where can you get a full spectrum camera for $200? Really.
Right. My question, another question is what format is the video saved, and how much is it? How much time do you got? I guess that would be the next question.
Excuse me. The format is AVI. So it's a standard Windows format, but it can be used on a Mac. Mac will recognize an AVI, and then you can convert it to MPEG or whatever you want. But it is recorded as an AVI. They also have an audio only mode, which records as MP3, so you can actually use them as a digital recorder. If you're recording video, they come with a 4 gig memory stick, which will take about an hour's worth of video. They can go up to 32 gig, which would be about 8 hours of video. But the battery that's in there, which is the biggest battery I could cram into these things without attaching an external battery to them, lasts for about 3 to 3.5 hours. So that's about the most you can get on a single charge, about 3.5 hours.
Wow. So if on an average night, let's say you carry an investigation from, let's say, 8 to So 2:00 in the morning. Could you get a full session, full recording session that way, or would you suggest breaking it up and maybe taking a break and then turning around and going into your uploading your video that you have into to your laptop or hard drive right there, then moving forward?
Yeah. Also, what you can do is, unfortunately, the new model that I have has a really short cord on them. But if you have a Windows tablet, it has to be a Windows tablet. I know that some people wanted to use them with an iPad, but an iPad doesn't have a USB port. But if you get a Windows tablet or a Windows laptop, you can actually plug the glasses into the USB port and use them as a webcam, and they'll last for as long as the battery in the laptop will last. And you can record it to the laptop, or you can stream them to something like Ustream or YouTube or whatever.
Awesome. So Jamie, you're newer. You're interested in the tech part of it and these glasses. I mean, you've seen it used now. We've seen the YouTube videos. How, as a newer person, a newer investigator, is this something that you think you would be ready to invest in, and do you see the value of it?
I do. I would totally invest in it. I think it would be, really helpful for me being, everything I'm open to. Everything I'm open to and trying, and I think the fact that you don't have to hold a digital recorder or camcorder is, a huge plus, and that you won't miss anything, when you turn around or, that aspect of it, So it's something I would definitely try. I would definitely try on an investigation for sure. But it's definitely down the road. Got to save a little bit of cash, but I'll give it for sure a try. It's definitely on there, yeah. So, have you used POV glasses at all, Chris? Have you experimented with them?
I haven't. And one of my right hand person for Ghost EP is Isaac Anaya. He's in the chat, and he's actually asking. I know that when I said, Pete, that you were going to be on, I knew that Isaac was going to be like, I got to have a million questions, because Isaac's a camera guy. That's what he's a professional photographer. So I saw him post a question. He wants to know if you can get an external battery for it.
Well, John is saying that you can. I haven't tried it, but at least with the newest model, which he actually has an older set. The newest model, if you plug a battery in, they shut off. So not with the newest ones, but with the older ones, you could. So I'm going to have to check and see if the new ones can, because I'll give it a shot and see.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, John.
I definitely, because I know that it is something, just like Jamie was asking if it's something that I would buy. Definitely, it would be something I would buy. I mean, if I could have that point of view glass and constantly get something. And one of the things that you have is we usually put up stationary cameras, and then we also will set up our CCTVs. But to have that first person view of what you're doing is a great tool. I mean, it's amazing. I know that if I had a set for each one of everybody on my team, some of the personal experiences no longer are personal experiences, because you have documentation of it. Mm-hmm. So and that's why I could totally see that it's that I use it. Jamie, I think that kind of sparked something in you, right? Some questions?
Yes. Well, it was a chat question we had from Chris Levesque earlier. He wanted to know your thoughts on EchoVox.
Honestly, it gives me a headache. It gives me a headache. I can't. My ADD kicks in, and I can't listen. I'm constantly moving around, and I can't. He always says that. Yes, I do. It gives me a horrible headache. It really does. But so does a spirit box. I can't use a spirit box either, and an ovilus. Oviluses drive me crazy.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Also on our chat question from Alex Shapiro, can you make thermal POV glasses?
No. I actually did look into that. And the thermal lenses are so incredibly expensive. They would not be. It actually buying them from FLIR is cheaper than I could build it for. Excuse me. So I was actually looking at it, and the definition that FLIR uses, I don't know how they can sell. And people think they're expensive, but when you look at what the components are in them, they're incredibly cheap. Because if you like the resolution on a standard camera, like on the glasses, is 1280 by 720. The thermal imager, the biggest one that you can get is 60 by 60, 60 pixels by 60 pixels. So you would, in order to get 1280 by 720, you'd have to put like 15 of these things together, and that's what they do in the FLIRs. And the 60 by 60 goes for like $300. So you'd have to spend like $5,000 to build your own when you can buy one from FLIR for like $1,200.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Do
you ever use your POV glasses in everyday life, walking around, recording? You ever do that?
I've actually used them on my motorcycle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I've recorded rides. Yeah.
That's very cool. Very cool. I want to quickly remind everybody that we are listening. You all are listening to the Paranormal Kool-Aid, and that we broadcast live every Wednesday night on Blog Talk Radio and Ghost Tales TV. And if you want to give us a call, number is 646. Sorry, guys, don't have it memorized. 646-929-2384. And give us a call if you have any questions for Pete, and get us in the chat room, and Jan will get you our questions. So, quick question, Chandra.
While we're talking about FLIR, I just did want to say that I don't know if anybody's seen this, but FLIR is actually coming out with an iPhone add-on pack called a FLIR One, and it will add real thermal imaging to an iPhone camera, and it's going to go for about $300.
Wow, that's really interesting. Okay. Oh, interesting. I have an iPhone, so okay. I'll throw it to Chandra. She's got a question for you, Pete.
Okay.
Hi, Pete.
Hi.
This is from Chris's tech guy again, Isaac. He wants to know, which this is kind of interesting, how strong is the IR on the glasses, and what's the distance?
Okay, they have, there's 4 high-strength IR LEDs on it, and, excuse me, they're really bright up close, because that's kind of how I made them, because the glasses aren't really very good for more than 10, 15 feet away, because they're a fixed focus. There's no zoom or anything. So that's about how strong the IRs are. They're good for about 10, 15 feet. If you're in a long hallway, they don't really light up the hallway very well because they point straight ahead. But if you're in a small room, it lights up the whole room.
Wow.
If you're in a, go ahead.
No, I was saying. So if you were to add maybe an IR spotlight, would it it would definitely help the distance on it. And you guys aren't aware, but IR you can get IR.
Yeah.
Right. IR stuff you can get the lights anywhere. I mean they're all over. You just do a search for IR light and you'll find them easy, and it'll help the experience a little bit more. Maybe get your depth a little bit further out. Now the focus is a little bit something different, but you'll be able to maybe see a little bit further down the hall. It'll light up. Won't be as clear, but it definitely will do it. Mm-hmm. Now, Pete, we're getting ready to come to one of our breaks here. It'll be the first break, and then we're gonna get some more of these fantastic chat questions to you. and then we're going to ask you to stick around. I know you get a headache, but you're more than welcome. We're going to run a little bit of an Echo Box session, and remember, don't go away. We're going to come back after this quick break, and more with Pete coming back right after this break.
This is Matthew Slozer, and you're listening to Sunday Night Dead.
This is Tracy Todd. You're listening to Sunday Night Dead.
Michael Bowler here from Primetime Paranormal Monday Nights.
G'day, this is Ashley Hall, the Australian Bat Squatch. You're listening to Primetime Paranormal.
This is George Lopez, and you're listening to Primetime Paranormal with myself, Michael Bowler, and Ashley Hulk, and you're listening to A World Awakening.
This is Andrea Perrin, and you're listening to A World Awakening.
Dead Air Paranormal Radio brings you Wednesday nights all the crazy kooks over at Paranormal Kool-Aid.
This is Keith Johnson. You're listening to Paranormal Hood, part of the Dead Air Paranormal family, right here on Blog Talk Radio.
This is George Lopez, and you're listening to Paranormal Kool-Aid, right here on Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome back to Paranormal Kool-Aid, everybody. We have Pete Stegman here with us, and he is the inventor of the POV glasses. So I want to thank everybody for joining us and listening in. We'll continue our discussion. I want to ask you, Pete, because I was listening to one of your radio interviews earlier today, and you said something like correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't believe in demons or demonic activity?
Yeah, that's right. I don't believe in demons. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Did you ever have an experience to where you felt like you were possessed or something attached itself to you?
No.
No? Nothing like that?
No.
Perfect. Okay. All right. What about using a Ouija board? Do you use a Ouija board?
I have used them. People ask me that all the time, and what is a Ouija board? It's cardboard and plastic. It's got nothing to do with the board. It's all about the intent of the person using it and how they use it and whether they know how to use it. It doesn't matter if it's a Ouija board or a bunch of EVPs. It's the same thing. It's just how you get them and how you do the communication.
Mhm. Oh, I agree with you. I'm learning a lot, and we had a guest on last week who was very educated in Ouija boards and taught me a lot for sure. And I'm realizing it's just a board. So I'm going to throw it to Sean.
Was that merch?
Yeah.
It was merch.
Yeah. I know merch. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's really sweet. I learned a lot from him, and I'm definitely going to, I want to do a Ouija board session here soon, my first one, and I don't think I'm going to get a portal from hell or anything from it, so I think I'll be good.
Yeah, no.
Well, you're living with one.
I used to live with one.
Oh, dear. Yeah. All right, go ahead, Chandra, baby.
All right. Now I've got to ask, because that's my thing, is object stacking. And you had mentioned earlier that you had like the silverware drawer. Like, is that like your most significant proof that you have with the paranormal, or have other things like you come to a room and there's books stacked in the center of it, or they screw with the change out of your pocket when you sit on the dresser? It's stacked.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff like that. I used to work at a Ren fair. There's a whole other story, but I used to work at the Ren fair as a sword fighter and juggler. And so I had a collection of swords that were hanging on a wall. And I'd come home from work and one of the swords would be missing, and I would go crazy trying to find it. And then there would be nobody else in the house, and then I'd be looking for it, and I'd come back into the living room, and it would be back. And I'm like, yeah, that did not just happen.
But
so stuff like that happen.
How many times did it happen before you go, okay, wait a minute. Did you ever stop and figure out, like, who the spirit was where you were living? Like, did you do, like, a EVP session to try to communicate?
No. One of the things that I've decided over the years is that I am never going to investigate my own house. And the reason for that is, if you're investigating somebody else's place and you get a spirit, angry or, excited or whatever, you pack up and you leave and hopefully things calm down. But if you're doing it in your own house, you're pretty much there all the time. And, the spirit may not ever calm down. And the first house that we lived in, that's what happened. It basically never calmed down once I got it going. So I will not investigate my own place.
Yeah, you don't want to stoke the fire.
Yeah.
But did you ever get that on camera? Like a video of it actually happening?
No.
Yeah, you can have it. Yeah. Hey, Chris, go ahead.
I hadn't invented the glasses yet.
Oh yeah, well, right.
So I guess my question to you, Pete, is you've been investigating now for a while. When you've got your glasses, you said you like your digital recorder. It's pretty low tech, but that's. I think as people go on and they investigate more and more, it's almost like the full circle of an investigator. You learn, you want to try all the cool stuff and you want to do it, but then maybe you just kind of settle on one piece of equipment that you find is that what you really are comfortable with. You understand it, and that's what you use. So thank you first of all for creating something that's going to allow us to be able to to use our hands more, because there are several instances in mine, and I'll let everybody know. I've really only seen one ghost, I guess you would say, ghost, spirit, or shadow person, or whatever in my lifetime. And if I had these point of view glasses, it wouldn't have been that story. Like I'm just talking, it would no longer been just a personal experience. In your opinion, take apart your glasses and take apart Danny's Echo Vox. What is the biggest advancement in technology for looking and helping for the identifying what we're looking for is since you've started investing?
Oh boy, it's hard to say. Honestly, the piece of equipment that I would love to use more, and I can't afford it, is a thermal imager. I think that you can really do some really cool stuff with them, and I'd love to be able to use them more. Other than that, any kind of night vision camera. People ask me, are spirits around in the day? Well, of course they are. They're around all the time. You just don't see them during the day because there's too much going on. There's too much other noise. There's too much too much light, too much radio traffic. There's too many cars going by. But at night when you can walk around in the dark, that's when that's the only reason you get your best evidence is because it's so quiet and because it's so dark.
Right. Before we move on, Pete, I'd like for you. So, when do you think you're going to get restocked? When is everybody get to buy, point of view glasses again?
I actually have 100 sets in the other room that are ready to be assembled, and I just haven't had time to do them. I'm hoping to get them, getting at least some of them built this week.
Wow. And then where do we go to buy them? Where do we find them? How do we get them?
I actually posted on it, and Jan just did it. It's parahunter.com, and you can either go to the POV glasses, which is /POV-glasses, or you can go, right to the main page and then click on the store button.
Right. So those of you that are listening to the show and not necessarily in the chat, because we have more listeners that don't participate in the chat, the web you can do is www.parahunter.com and it's /POV-glasses. That's where you can go and get these. And I know that my buddy Isaac, he's probably on your site right now trying to figure out how to order us a couple of pairs. So,
but we talked about. Go on. Okay.
No, you go ahead. This is about you.
I was just about to say we talked about ghost hunters earlier, and you only ever see Jay wearing a set, and sometimes Adam, and they actually have 6 sets. So that's why Jay is the only one that wears them, because he basically, as soon as the battery runs out of one, he just grabs another set. So he uses them all night. Adam has a set because I actually gave him a set about 2 years ago, and so he's been using them for a while. And then so Jay actually has 5 sets, and that's how he does them on a whole investigation.
Wow. Jay,
okay.
Yes. We have one from Blaze and Doob. Hi, Blaze and Doob. What's the best or your favorite piece of footage/evidence you've got with the POV glasses?
I would have to say that the best that I got was actually an EVP, and it was at the Wilkinson Mill, which is also part of the Slater Mill complex, and it's a gunshot, and it's very clear. It's actually a flintlock. You can actually hear it cocking twice, and then you hear the trigger pull, and then you hear the boom. And again, me and Steve Black are just sitting there talking. So, and people say to me, "You didn't hear that?" I'm like, we're in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. You hear a gunshot, you hit the floor. You don't
right. Oh my gosh, that is crazy. I've never done that. Oh my gosh. Let's see here. And how often do you get good evidence? Like every single time that you go on an investigation, do you get evidence, or have you had a point where you?
No, I've had investigations where we caught absolutely nothing, and actually there's one of the instances where we actually had shut everything off, and that's when something happened. We did an investigation in Plymouth. We did the Captain Thomas house, and there was all kinds of things that when we took the tour of the place they told us about. And one of the things they said was a china cabinet that the doors would just all of a sudden swing open. So I set a static cam pointing at that china cabinet, and we did an investigation. We did it from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., and we got absolutely nothing. At 8 o'clock in the morning, the sun is up. We're like, okay, that's it. We're done. We all have to go get some sleep. So I said, okay, we're going to pack up. We start packing up. I go unplug the DVR. 30 seconds later, the cabinet goes boom and blows open. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. I literally just shut it off.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Do you? I was curious. Do you? Because I prefer, like, for investigations, I prefer like residential abandoned buildings. I don't prefer like big group investigations and like all this stuff. Okay, I was going to ask you what you preferred. So okay, all right. So you like residential, small, few people type thing.
Yeah. Usually, at the most, we take 6 people on an investigation, unless it's a public thing that, we're running or we're doing a charity or something like that.
Okay. Okay, cool. Very cool. All right, Chris, I'm going to throw it to you, bud.
All righty. So, as I'm sitting here, my friend Isaac, he's just like, he's got all kinds of questions. I already know what he's doing, but he's asking again in the chat. He wants to know, I guess what he's referring to as battery life is, I guess if there's a chance that the pixels will get higher as your battery starts to go lower.
Honestly, I haven't noticed anything. I know that one of the things that the glasses do is that they only take 3-minute videos, and so it'll take a 3-minute video, then start a new video, and then so you can keep them running for hours, but it splits it up into 3-minute videos. And a lot of people say, well, why does it do that? And I say, well, that's in case the battery dies. The most you lose is 3 minutes. So that's why it does it. But no, I've never noticed that there's any loss in quality, as it gets closer to the battery dying.
Okay, well, that's good to know, and I guess it does make sense. I mean, just like Jason does, is you have an extra set ready to go, and it, typically what we do, and this is kind of the Ghost EP version of investigating. What we'll do is we'll usually break the night up into a series of hours. So we might do like the first hour, and then we'll take about a 15-minute break. And I guess is the battery a hard battery to to change out, or is it something pretty simple?
Oh no, you can't change the battery. Yeah, you'd have to take the glasses apart to change it. So it takes about it's about a 2-hour charge. So you charge it for about 2, and you get 3 out of it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Good. Well, that's and I guess that's why Isaac asked about the external battery. Or somebody asked about the external battery. But before we go,
I was just going to say I'll give an external battery a shot and see if it works.
Right. So before we let you go tonight, Pete, you're more than welcome to stay on. We're going to do a little bit of an after show with Danny and the Echo Box. And remember, if you want to be a part of that show or this after hour show, you're more than welcome to call in. The number to call in is 646-929-2384. Again, the number is 646-929-2384. So, Pete, as you go through it and you do these cons, so you're gonna have a con coming up. What are some of the other cons that you've been to or that's coming up, so that people out there listening can go up there and shake your hand?
Well, like I said, I was just at Phenomicon. I was at Weird Texas Fest. I was at the Grey Ghost Paracon out in Alameda. And next week is Parahistory, and excuse me, that's at Lake George. And then there's the Terracon in Rhode Island. I don't have my calendar. I'm trying to do these off the top of my head. The Terracon is, I believe, in June. Then there's Ocean State Paracon, and then I think the next one I'm at is either going to be DragonCon or Scaricon.
Awesome. It's amazing. I can't wait. I want to meet you personally. I want to talk and just, one of these days, now that hopefully I'll be more and more getting out of El Paso, I'll get a chance to rub elbows with you and talk some more stuff and get ready to more how you do it and what you do. I greatly look forward to it. And again, the girls they talk great stuff about you, and I appreciate you coming on to the Paranormal Kool-Aid. If you could do me a favor, we like to do this, is if you could just do me a favor and say, hey, this is Pete Stegman, POV glasses, whatever you want to say, and then you're listening to the Paranormal Kool-Aid. Could you do that for me?
Sure.
All right,
ready?
Whenever you're ready. Yes, sir.
Okay. This is Pete Stegman from Parahunter. I'm the inventor of the POV glasses, and you're listening to Paranormal Kool-Aid.
Nice.
Awesome. That was perfect. First try, too, girls. I think that's the first guy that's ever done it, right? Usually we're like, oh, wait. Oh, no. So it was awesome. So, you know what? Just remember, everybody, if you want to call in, now's the time to call in, 646-929. Or are you back?
You just froze up.
Danny, are you back with us? Are you live on the air?
Am I live?
There you go. He's live with us. So, two buds, Danny and Pete, you guys, thank you for coming on. Thank you for being part of this great show that Jamie and Chandra helped put together. And Belinda, of course, facilitates all of this, and thank you very so much. The chat will be going in case you guys are going to be calling in, and just to listen. You don't have to participate if you call in. You can still talk in the chat because it'll still be live as we're going. Let's go ahead and Danny, as you've talked a little bit, in the first hour about your box. point of view glasses, Echo Vox. This was built kind of as a tech show, and the more and more that that you realize it, and we talk more about it, I think every with purpose of making investigations fun, more productive, more efficient, and I think that both of you have created two products that are definitely worth at least trying out and making them, adding them to your arsenal of equipment to go out there and look for spirits or aliens or whatever it is that we're talking to every weekend. So thank you both for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Hi,
Pete.
Pete.
And Jenny.
Awesome. Hey, you guys are awesome.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a quick break. We're going to do a quick song, end up the show like we do. We're going to put get a chance for everybody to call in. You've got 7 minutes to call in, everybody. Whoever wants to be able to listen to the after show. We'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes. We're going to go Box After Hours show coming up soon.
All right. I'll be right back.
Anybody's listening, sorry, I have to blow my nose.
That's hot.
Everybody, welcome back. It is now almost a couple of minutes to hour, but we'll go ahead and bring it back after the awesome music break. We got everybody here: Jamie, Chandra, Danny, Pete, and we got some callers in the queue. So, Danny, let's go ahead and let's start. While everybody can still listen, tell us how we can get your Echo Vox app. How do we find it?
If you're on Android, you would go to Google Play and search. The easiest thing to do would be to just search Echo Vox, and it'll pop up. If you want to find all my apps on Google Play, if you search Spirit Vox, all one word, VOX, all my apps should pop up in that search result. And then on iTunes, you could just search Spirit Vox or Echo Vox, all one word, VOX, and for you.
Awesome. And Danny, just like we did with Pete, I'd like for you to do a promo for us. If, this is Danny and I have Echo Vox and Paranormal Kool-Aid. Whatever you want to do, if you could do that for us now.
Hi, I'm Danny, creator of the Echo Vox, and you're listening to Paranormal Kool-Aid.
Awesome. So when we start this Echo Vox session, those of you that are listening, on hold, what we're going to do is we're going to try to. What I want to do is Jamie, Chandra, Bill, if you want to come in, or Belinda. We'll add Belinda into the mix as well. We're going to go ahead and Belinda, are you there?
Yes, I'm
Belinda,
here.
there? Okay, awesome. And we got Bill. I don't know if you want to call yourself in. I know we're getting the calls are coming in. Wow, I don't think we've ever had that many calls. But we're going to go ahead and what we do is I'd like to do a round robin thing. If we could do that, Danny, and if we could just have
kinky.
Yeah.
That's pretty kinky.
Yeah, it's after hours, so anything goes.
Maybe I should have a drink or two before we do a round robin.
There you go.
Oh, hey, I'm already on my third.
So what we'll do is we'll have Jamie start the question, and then we'll go to Chandra and Belinda, and then it'll be me, Pete. If you're still there, you can join in with the question as long as you can hang with us. And if anybody wants to join or maybe ask a question, the chat is still going, so you can ask that question in the chat. Everybody got it? Everybody understands?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, Danny, I don't know if you got to warm it up or tune it up or whatever you got to do if you want to start this thing all over again.
It's usually just spit on it.
There you go.
Oh God.
It is. Yeah, everybody, you're listening to the After Hours version of Paranormal Kool-Aid.
Figured I'd start it out right. No, I mean I guess it's a continuation of what we had going earlier. I did post the original recording from earlier to SoundCloud, so I'll post that link back up in the chat room again. So that it's up, it's downloadable. So if anybody wants to download it and play. What the hell is that?
That is the cue that we're going to go into the After Hours show. That's what that is. You're going to hear that coming through. So that's the lovely British Blog Talk lady stuff. That wasn't a ghost. Go.
All right. Threw me off though. I forgot what I was saying. And, oh yeah, the first half of the recording is up. There we go. There was a time long ago.
Sexy.
Many years ago into the future. Right. Should we just wait for her to get off, or
no? And you can't ever. They don't hear that, so that's just in our ears, Danny. And that's one of those things when you Skype in with me, you get to hear the British lady talk.
So nobody knows what the hell I'm talking about.
No, they're thinking you're high or something.
Oh my goodness! All right, so
that would probably be a
like
good
I was
guess.
saying. Hey y'all, that's not nice, Mr. Stegman. All right, so the same thing as I said before. We don't want to talk to anybody that's negative. It's just if anybody wants to listen to that first recording, there was definitely like some weird stuff happening towards the end, and I don't know if it's going to continue or what. If it seems like it's getting negative, though, I'm going to kill it right away with a shot. So, yeah, we don't want to speak to anyone negative. We don't want to speak to anyone that has any ill intent. Echo? Echo? Test. So what what I just did is I dropped the mic gain down to get rid of that feedback, and then I brought it back up.
Okay.
Well, what the hell was that? Hello? The dog just...
So can we go ahead and have Jamie start asking a question?
Sure.
Okay. We'll go.
Well, is Sarah still with us?
Say something again. Jamie, I think I have you going into the room now. Go ahead and ask a question.
Okay, all right. Is there a Sarah still with us? And is she in Alabama?
Sarah with Al. Sarah lives on the farm with Al.
Okay, Chandra, you want to go?
I have no idea what to ask. I've never done this before. It's weird.
You can ask anything. You can ask what color is your favorite color. What anything.
All right. What is your favorite color?
Well, I heard black and I heard green.
That's cool.
Belinda, you're next.
Thank you. I'd like to ask my sister Donna Clark, what is the secret she told me just before she told you?
Wow, it's this sentence. It said, you can't pull up, or something like that.
Okay.
There's like a whole sentence right there.
Pete, do you have a question?
No, I don't have anything I can think of.
Okay. I'm gonna go with my question, and my question is, what city are you in? Danny, you want to go?
Tell me what city I'm in right now. What city is this? There it is. It said Chester before man, and then it put Manchester together.
I actually was hearing Stegman is what I heard.
It definitely said, I might have said that as well. It definitely said. Yeah.
What emotion?
Earlier I asked for Sarah. Is there still a Sarah here? Yes. Yes. Sarah, have I ever talked to you before?
Let's go one more time around. Jamie, you go next.
Something about Frank.
What's your favorite food?
Really? What you want to ask of the afterworld? Or whatever.
I got a food problem,
I mean,
sorry. I'm hungry, okay?
How old are you?
I'm 20, it just said. Like, clear, it's just, I'm 20. Are you 20? Who's 20? How many spirits are we speaking to? 40? How many spirits are we speaking to? Wow. There was just a voice that sounded like the voice from Poltergeist, like Carol Ann.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Belinda, you're up.
I'd like for the spirits to tell us their names. Oh, yes, chime in. What's your name?
She said Chandra.
What's my name?
Can you do me a favor? Can you say Paranormal Kool-Aid?
Wow. Can you say that? Paranormal Kool-Aid. Again, we're not looking to speak to anyone negative. We want to speak to positive energy. Do you have a message that you'd like to convey to anyone listening? A lot of people listening. Send your message for it. It was positive.
I think I heard something right there, to be honest with you. I'm going to have to go back and listen to that.
There was a whole bunch there.
Yeah. Danny, why don't you do me a favor? Let's do this in let's save it for another show. I like the whole thing, but if maybe you could just, first of all, if anybody was out there listening to us, I'd like to thank you for being a guest on a show. You were actually on a live show. Thank you for listening to us and participating. Danny, it was awesome. Pete, it was another awesome show. Thank you so much. Those of you that stayed on and listened to our after-hours show, we'll keep on doing some more of this. Remember, this will be on the archived show as well, so you'll be able to listen to the whole hour and 10 minutes that we've been on, or 2 hours and 10 minutes, I'm sorry. Pete, Danny, thank you guys for coming. Belinda, Jamie, Chandra, Wild Bill, thank you guys for helping me put together another great show. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
All righty, good night.
Bye.
And those,
Bye, guys.
good night. We'll be back on Normal Kool-Aid. Good night.